What up, Hyperchains? Welcome to another episode. Today we are talking about an insane story. I can't even believe that happened, but I have to tell you because I just got to document this. This is a crypto investment that I made 3 years ago that was a wallet that I lost, that I re-got access to, and that has turned out to be the best investment of my whole life in terms of percentage. Probably will never ever be topped. So I gotta tell you this story. It's mind-boggling. So take you back. I want to say summer, mid-2018, crypto boom has already passed. We sort of hit that peak 2017 crypto wave. One of my friends, Mike Demarais, huge shout out. He deserves like the biggest shout out because none of this would have happened without him. And he's an amazing person to follow for crypto schemes. So we meet up at his Brooklyn apartment. We're like, yo, let's go to McCarran Park, talk about crypto, start scheming. So one of our ideas that we've always talked about is how do you get collectible streetwear on the blockchain? You know, growing up in New York, seeing the Supreme line every day when I'm walking around NYU campus, there's just massive line out the block for the Supreme t-shirts to get these limited edition t-shirts. And, you know, someone who's been collecting sneakers, has bought a ton of fake sneakers, has gotten scammed, but loves this game of collecting limited edition streetwear. And I think this is the future of everything. Look at what Yeezys is doing. You know, the Jordan resale market is worth billions of dollars. Look at watches. Just this entire idea that collectibles are art and streetwear and sneakers are slowly getting into that echelon, and there's so much excitement there. And so Mike goes, dude, you know how we've been talking about that? Well, guess what? There's this new thing called the Unisocks, these crypto socks, because we've always been talking about, you know, what are the use cases for smart contracts and the blockchain authentication? You know, you can verify that this is yours, it's a legitimate one. I mean, isn't this perfect for sneakers and Yeezys and Supreme drops? And all of this limited edition collectible stuff should be on the blockchain so we can verify that it's legit and trade it digitally, not IRL. This is an insane breakthrough, right? And so Mike's like, yo, there's these socks that were like 12 or 15 bucks. Now they're trading for 60 or 55 bucks. And they're these purple Unisocks. I thought they were swag. I love the design. I was like, okay, these are kind of cool. And they were launched by this crypto exchange called Uniswap. And he's like, dude, this is it. This is a tokenized sock. This is Yeezys on the blockchain, but it's not Yeezys, it's socks, but it's the technology. This is like this incredible breakthrough because it's the first ever time we've had a real life limited edition physical good sort of IPO on the Ethereum blockchain. And the way this works and why the Unisocks were so amazing is because you didn't have to buy the sock, you bought the token. So you bought the rights to one sock. There's only 500 pairs ever made, right? So you get the rights to one of these socks and you don't have to redeem it. So that token, that socks token is tradable. And then when you want to redeem it, and if I want to, you know, all these Yeezys come out and let's say 50% of the Yeezys, people are just holding on to as an investment or for their closet for wearing in a future date. So 50% of them people are buying, but they're just holding at their house, storing, losing value, not being stored perfectly, counterparty risk, all of that stuff, just like not insured. It's really difficult, right? But imagine if that 50% that was used to collect, that was used to invest, could be traded as a token and you didn't have to take possession of that physical asset. That would be an amazing breakthrough in the friction of this entire market. And so I was totally fascinated by this concept, and we'd been talking about this Yeezys on the blockchain idea, Mike and I, for like months before this. And then all of a sudden this Unisock comes out and actually validates this model. And so I'm like fascinated as all hell. Mike's telling me about it. He's like, it's a really cool dude. He's out there in Brooklyn. Like, this is a really cool project. You got to check it out, Gally. And so I'm like, okay, I check it out. He shows me on his phone. I think they look dope in McCarran Park. I'm like, bro, I want one. He's like, you should buy one just to see what happens. And so I'm like, dude, of course I want to buy one. They're limited edition socks. So I'm like, dude, I can't figure out how to buy it. This is way too complicated. I'm going to just Venmo you 60 bucks and you'll send me a sock. So that, you know, the stock was trading for 50 something bucks plus the gas, plus I was like 60 sounds right. So literally I can show you the Venmo. I'll put up on the screen right now. There's a Venmo of me sending Mike 60 bucks in 2018. And Mike, the homie, sends me a crypto sock to my wallet, and on my wallet on Rainbow, which is an app that he's a co-founder in, that I'm an angel investor in, which is also a whole nother epic story that we'll do another time. But so Mike, basically the first over-the-counter socks transaction. So I hear about this crazy sock in McCarran Park. I'm like, I want one. Venmo the homie. He sends it to my crypto wallet. Bam, I got it. I'm like, this is cool. Go back home to my roommates, telling them all about it. I bought this sock for 60 bucks. No, I don't have it. It's technically in Brooklyn, but I could get it whenever I want, but I'm not going to get it because the token's going to go up. My friends are like, Gal, you're an idiot. You paid $60 for like a pair of socks. That's like the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my whole life. Heard that a couple times. I was still hyped on it. Anyway, I kind of forget about it. Years go by. I'm just like, whatever, you know, I start dabbling with crypto kitties, put those in my wallet, and end up getting a new iPhone, losing that wallet. But my homie Mike had told me Gally, you have to write down the seed phrase. And this is like the biggest lesson that I can tell anybody in crypto. When you open a crypto wallet, you're gonna get a seed phrase. It's like the backup password to access your account. And this is so, so valuable. And it's the way to get into your account if you lose your device. And so I scribbled this on this little piece of paper, like that's just in my closet in New York. And I don't even know, like I moved like twice since I had that. I don't even know what random little box it's in, but I have this scribbled back. But anyway, so I forget about the wallet. I'm on the West Coast. It's mid-COVID, and I check the price of these Unisocks, and I see Mike tweeting, and he's like, bro, $4,000 for a price of this sock. And I'm like, dude, was that the sock I bought for 60 bucks? Like, lo and behold, it's become a total cult thing in the Ethereum network. It validated this incredible, Yeezys on the blockchain theory of limited edition streetwear that could be tokenized and then sold and then be traded as a liquid asset. Now the market cap is millions of dollars of these socks. I think about 185 of them have been redeemed. So there's only about 300 or so that are actually left ready to be redeemed as the tokens. So the supply's decreasing, and they're trading for $4,000. They're getting hype. Everybody's talking about them. Next thing, even fast forward to like the Coinbase IPO, you see one of the Coinbase founders rocking the Unisocks on the IPO video as a flex. Like, it was just getting into pop culture. That happened earlier, but still. And I'm like, oh my God, Mike, I'm losing my shit. Like, these socks, I lost the wallet. I traded in my iPhone. I don't even have access to it. And he's like, bro, you better find that piece of paper. So long story short, I forget about it because I'm on the West Coast. I'm like, oh, when I get back to New York, I'll search in my closet and find this little scribbled piece of paper and get my wallet and have a Unisock. And not only was it a Unisock that was worth $4,000, but the exchange Uniswap that created the Unisock, it airdropped, basically gave a present to all the Unisock buyers or holders of 1,000 Uni tokens. And now Uniswap was blowing up, so this 1,000 Uni tokens were worth a couple $1,000s. So all of a sudden my $60 investment is worth like $8,000, and I'm just losing all, but I don't have access to this wallet. Like, this account I'm locked into that I put 60 bucks in, now it's just mind-boggling. And then it keeps blowing up and keeps going. In this time, actually, kind of a side story, did open up a separate wallet and buy 3 crypto socks at like 3 Unisocks at like $5,000 because I was having so much FOMO that they were going to explode to like $1 million a sock and I was going to miss out. This is, I don't know, it sounds, as I'm telling the story, I'm like, this is the dumbest. The logic behind this is like so unsound and not my typical investment strategy. And this was all like for fun kind of stuff. But so I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy Unisocks as a trade on top of this lost wallet Unisock. Actually, that's why I really bought it, because the Unisock to me was like a leverage bet on Ethereum. It's this weird, quirky little niche built on Ethereum. If Ethereum blows up, the blueprint for how to drop collectible, merch, Yeezys on the blockchain on Ethereum, that sort of blue chip asset of that niche is going to soar way more in value. It's like a leverage bet on Ethereum to hold Unisocks, was my theory. So I was hyped on ETH. I wanted to get some exposure. So I buy more Unisocks. Next thing you know, it goes $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. So I'm start cashing out of these Unisocks that I bought. Hits $100,000, then $124,000 for a pair of socks, the most expensive socks in the world. The market capitalization is like $30 or $40 million. These 500 socks collectively are worth over, each pair of socks is worth $100,000. I mean, this is peak in the crypto markets. Now I think it's like 60 something as I make this episode, and you had Uniswap hit $30 a token. So the $60 at its all-time high hit over $150,000 of value. So I'm seeing this all happen and I'm like, oh my God, Mike is like, Gally, you have to find that scribbled little piece of paper, bro. Like, this is like, you got like, right? I get back to New York City recently. First thing I do is hit my closet. Within 5 minutes, I got the scribbled piece of paper. I hit up Rainbow customer support. They help me through it. I get access to the wallet. Bam, there it is. And so $92,000 almost from $60 about 2.5 years later or 3 years later. That's the name of the game of the investment. I got access to the wallet, and I even side traded the Unisocks along the way and did well on that. So it just turned out to be this incredible investment. And I kind of haven't really talked about it on the channel because I didn't put it through the same rigorous like process of investing in a company, meeting with the founder, doing due diligence. Like, it was just so different. But also it's investing, and I was so fascinated. And I think my biggest lesson to take out of all this is like, I think be fascinated in things genuinely that you are. Like, the reason why I did so well on Unisocks is because I was fascinated by it for the right reasons before the hype was there, just because the hype was there. Like, I was fascinated because I thought it was a piece of computer science history that would go down as this iconic memorabilia and artifact if this, system of tokenizing assets and limited edition products takes off. The first one that does it. It's like, oil paintings become a thing and you have the first oil painting ever, or, it's hard to even like the first Jordan sneaker ever, except it's not the brand Jordan, it's the brand of the metaverse of Ethereum. So in many ways, it could be bigger than the first Jordan sneaker ever, right? Like, this is, to me, when you think about what does the Mona Lisa of today look like, it's not going to look like an oil painting. It could be looking like a crypto sock token. So that was kind of my theory. And like, I don't know, I just, the way that, like, you know, fascinating the technology behind it, and just what it was in limited edition, and the fact that it was streetwear and that I thought it looked cool, that's what led me to it. And so, I don't know, I guess I love this idea that, like, a quote from one of my friends, Neve, or something that he lives by, is like, all, you know, amazing disruptive things kind of start out looking like toys. And I think that's so true. And now we're at this crazy point where nothing is tokenized on the blockchain yet. Yeezys on the blockchain hasn't even happened yet, and Unisocks are still trading at $60,000 a pair. So maybe they will continue to be this incredible asset, and they will continue to soar as this technology emerges, and Yeezy is doing every shoe drop on the blockchain. Or maybe it will fizzle and this will never happen, and it will go to zero. It'll be the most ridiculous bubble of all time. Even more dumber than the tulip bubble was the crypto sock bubble. But I don't know. I don't know. I kind of want to just make this video to document just how ridiculous this was, and kind of give people the lesson of, like, follow your curiosity in a good way, not the hype, and do things that genuinely interest you, because it's so funny how the world comes to you versus when you try and chase the world and you try and chase the hot thing versus genuinely following what you think is interesting and fascinating in the future, and then the world coming to you. I think that's the way you got to invest. You got to be a contrarian, believe that buying a pair of socks for $60, you know, makes perfect sense when everyone else thinks that's super overpriced. And then now some of those same friends are like we're buying into Unisocks at $6,000 with a partial position because they, you know, it's like so dumb. That's another reason why I think it's so important to think outside the box about investing in finance. You know, flamethrowers, Tesla shorts, Tesla tequila, I think will be some of my best investments ever. And they're not traditional investments by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that's why the alpha is so outsized, because nobody views those as an investable asset class. And so if you can start to see things as an investable asset class before they're even thought of as one, then that's where, like, so much of this true alpha comes. And so I think it's so important to keep an open mind. You're like, oh, stocks and bonds, or is it crypto assets, or is it this? And especially in the era of hyperchange, that's the reality, is this shit is changing so much faster than ever. Humanity's idea of what stores value, of what is art, of what is collectible, of where the cultural zeitgeist is shining the spotlight of attention and capital is incredible. And it's moving so quickly. Unisocks could go to zero instantly, or they could go to 1 million instantly with the spotlight of attention, and you trying to guess where that spotlight of attention is going to go is so interesting. And it's almost very different than investing in companies. It's sort of like investing in art. And I think the biggest takeaway from all of this is, I think, like, I don't know, the biggest asset class I think are at risk are like paintings and all this other sort of legacy collectibles that aren't as fun and new as exciting. And we see the zeitgeist moving to these new streetwears and sneaker as art, and socks as art, not as much as painting on the wall. This is just an area that I'm super fascinated by, because I think, you know, like, you see Dogecoin taking off. I want to make a whole video about that. It's like, you know, we can pick whatever we want to be our currency that holds value for us, and that can be art. And I think in this awakening moment where people are having less trust in fiat systems like the US dollar, it's not just cryptocurrencies that will benefit, but it's all crypto assets, it's all collectible, it's all art, it's all things that store value over time as the market pace of inflation is increasing. Like, I think real estate is going to be an incredible asset over the next couple decades, because it's going to be priced in, you know, US dollars, which are inflating, and this is going to be a hedge against that. And so I think that's a broader trend where, when I think about the awakening, there's this bubbling multi-trillion-dollar niche of art and collectibles, which aren't thought of as currency yet. They haven't been bucketed into that asset class yet, but truly they are currency, or at least a store of value over time, or an inflation hedge. And that inherent, you know, I don't know, it's weird. That wraps it up. Thank y'all for tuning in. Craziest story ever. I'm still holding on to my Unisock and Uniswap token for now, because I don't know, I already made profits on the other Unisock I traded, so I feel like I don't need to, like, cash out, and I kind of want to just see where it goes. But I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you have any ideas or thoughts and schemes on this, because it's wild. Would love to know what you think. Just how to tell y'all, because it was too much of a crazy story. Anyway, this is Hyperchange. Peace.